Hello, dears, how are you? We, the humans, we are social animals. We have to live, work amongst the rest of the people, and we are seen socializing. Some of us are more social than others, introverts, extroverts. But one thing which is common between all the introverts and the extroverts, between all the people, that they are emotionally dependent upon certain relationships. Call them a very close friend, closest friend of you. Call them a partner, a romantic partner, or anything else at all. But relationships are, almost inevitable for each and every individual. And those people who are unable to have it, they people are called lonely people. But as for the relationships are concerned, now these relationships, some of these are very healthy relationships, emotionally healthy relationships, psychologically healthy relationships, while another some of these are quite an unhealthy, which are also called the toxic relationships. As for these toxic relationships are concerned, so it make our life even worse instead of making it better. It makes our life even worse. So we need to be very careful about all that, whether my relationship is a healthy one or it is a toxic one. And if at all it is a healthy relationship, I think we need to be grateful to Allah, and we can enjoy our life much better. But if at all the relationship is a toxic one, then I think this is the matter of concern, and we need to do something about it. It cannot be overlooked, it cannot be ignored at all, because the toxic relationship actually spoils our life. We don't want our life to be spoiled at all. We want to make the most of our life. So why to be content, and why to bear, why to endure the toxic relationship? So our today's topic is about the relationship, about the toxic relationship. How can I identify my relationship is a toxic one or it is a healthy one? So on the one hand, it is very important to identify the relationship. On the other hand, we need to understand how can I manage my relationship. So let's talk about the identification of a toxic relationship. What are the signs of a toxic relationship? There are five undeniable signs of a toxic relationship. And if at all any of the relationship is having all these five, or even a single out of all those five traits of a toxic relationship, it does mean that the relationship has become a toxic one or is a toxic one from the very beginning, and we need to do something about it. So let's talk about the first sign of a toxic relationship, and it says constant criticism. The constant criticism, and anywhere where there is a constant criticism, this means that the relationship is a toxic one. And your friend constantly criticizes, constantly belittles you or humiliates you. Your friend constantly criticizes you, belittles you, or humiliates you. So it all means that your relationship is a toxic one, since your partner is constantly criticizing. Now the second sign of a toxic relationship is that is called an emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation. Your partner uses guilt, your partner uses anger or self pity to control your emotions and to control your actions. So that means your relationship is a toxic one. Emotional manipulation. Your partner uses guilt, your partner uses anger, or your partner uses self pity to control your emotions and to control your actions. So that is a toxic relationship. Now the third is that disrespect and dishonesty. Disrespect and dishonesty. Your partner consistently disrespect your boundaries. Your partner consistently disrespect your boundaries, your feelings, and your needs, and is a dishonest with you. It means that this relationship is also a toxic one. So that is the third sign: disrespect and dishonesty. Your partner consistently disrespect your boundaries, disrespect your feeling, and disrespect your emotional needs, and is dishonest with you. It means that the relationship is a toxic one. The fourth sign of a toxic relationship is control and possessiveness. Your partner tries to control your actions. Your partner tries to control your actions, your decisions, and your relationships with the other people. So that is also called control and possessiveness, and this is also a very strong sign of a toxic relationship. Now, the fifth and the last sign of a toxic relationship is that lack of emotional support. Lack of emotional support. Your partner is unsportive and unempathetic or unresponsive to your emotional needs. So that is also mean that your partnership, that your relationship has become or is a toxic one. Lack of emotional support. Your partner is unsportive, unempathetic, and are unresponsive to your emotional needs. So these are the five signs of a toxic relationship. Now, once we have identified that this relationship is a toxic one, now we need to understand how can it be managed, and managing it is very important indeed. So number one thing is that set boundaries. How to manage a toxic relationship? Number one thing is that set boundaries. Boundary setting, very important. Clearly communicate your limits and your expectations to your partner. That is, clearly communicate your limits and your expectations to your relationship, that these are my boundaries. You don't have any right to overstep my boundaries. You don't have any right to violate my boundaries, and these are the boundaries, and these are my expectations as well from you. So that is the number one thing, which is called setting boundaries for the purpose of managing a toxic relationship. Now the second way is seeking support, and that is reach out to trusted friends, reach out to trusted family member or a therapist for emotional support and the guidance. It is seeking support. Reach out to trusted friends, to a trusted family member or a therapist for emotional support and guidance. Now the third way to manage a toxic relationship, that is prioritize self-care. Prioritizing of self-care and take care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. So that is the third way to manage your toxic relationship. Now the fourth one is reevaluate the relationship. Reevaluation of the relationship, that is called consider whether the relation is healthy and sustainable for you or not. So that is about taking a decision whether to continue it or whether to simply say goodbye to this relationship. Now the fifth tip to manage this toxic relationship, it is called create an exit plan. Creating an exit plan. If necessary, develop a plan to leave the relationship safely and sportively. So these are the five ways, the five important tips of how to manage a toxic relationship. Earlier we spoke about earlier we spoke about the five signs that a relationship is a toxic one. Now we talked about another five tips about how to manage this toxic relationship. Now there are certain reminders, and the reminder number one is you deserve respect, you deserve kindness, and you deserve emotional support in a relationship. And that is the purpose of the relationship. You deserve respect, you deserve the kindness, and you deserve the emotional support in a relationship. Number two, prioritize your well-being and safety above all else. Prioritize your well-being and safety above all else. Now the third is seek help and seek support when needed. So dear friends and fellows, there are five very important signs of a toxic relationships. Then there are five very important tips about how can we manage it successfully and effectively. And lastly, we spoke about certain reminders. I think anytime we come to understand that the relationship has become a toxic one, or it is a toxic from the very beginning, then we need to take corrective measures. And these are the five corrective measures. So my dear friends and fellows, that is all from me today. Thank you very much.